be
I
here for
know.
another 6 weeks or so.
Absolutely. August is probably going to be one of the worst months. I know when we were in Florida too, August and September, people would think September gets cooler, not in Florida, not down in the South. Still pretty hot.
Yeah, and obviously you guys that are in the upper Midwest and then up in Canada, it'll start to cool off here. Actually, in a couple of weeks, it'll start to cool off for you guys. So you'll be a
You'll
nice
be
welcome
getting a
break.
break. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll even start to have the leaves change in mid-August, late August, which is a little bit hard to accept, but it's just the way the
Yeah.
location of the world is, right? So anyway, today we're going to talk about kind of continuing with what we've been doing as we do all this stuff to try to teach us and educate us on research that we're doing. We're not giving medical advice here, as we say all the time. We want to share with you guys what we research so you can think for yourself, do your own research. But yeah, today we're going to talk about mastering bones. Try to get your bone health, because as we age, you start to lose this really fast, sadly.
So these are critical things to, none of us are in our 20s. So we're all older master runners, senior master runners, or we have to think of longevity. We have to think of how we want to age and how well we want to age and how we want that to play out and be. The key to that is how much muscle mass you have. That's why we went over 2 weekends ago, the things about maximizing the amount of muscle. Runners don't want to put on muscle. I get that. But you still are losing it. So you need to maintain that. So the best practices we went over for that. Bone health too. So your strength of your bones, your amount of muscle mass, and your healthy relationships. Those are probably the three of the biggest things that are going to dictate how well those later years play out for us. So we want to highlight another thing. Running is a high impact sport. We need muscle for it, and we need strong bones. So we're going to go over some things today.
Yep, exactly. So as we say each week, again, not medical advice. We're sharing with you guys what we research, what we practice, so you can think about it yourself. Again, think for yourself, do your own research. That's the goal. That's to get you guys pondering and thinking about something, because you have the ability to do whatever you want to do, as do any of us, right? We just have to think. You
have a choice.
You have a choice, exactly. So this is one of the reasons why we do these each week. So anyway, last week we talked about avoiding injuries through, again, stretching and strength training. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of an injury right now due to some, when I was at the gym, a little bit too much weight. I was trying to push a little bit too much, but I'll be fine. I'll just recover here. So we went through why it's important stretching, again, injury resilience, types of stretches, dynamic and static. Best ones for runners, best static ones, again, why strength training. And then we gave you guys some exercises, which are some core foundational things. Cannot stress that enough, how much important it is to have that strength training as we get older. And this ties into today, because all that stuff factors into your bone health, which is what, as we age, we lose it faster, which is sad, but it's part of life.
Yeah. I mean, it is a reality. If you are not building muscle, if you're not strengthening your bones, you are losing it. After a certain tipping point, bone is a very dynamic tissue. It seems like it's fixed because your bones are hard and they should, be strong, but this is a very active tissue that is constantly remodeling. You are putting demands on it. It is breaking down. It's remodeling. That's the whole process. When we're young, it does that very well. It goes back and forth, and you're not losing any. After a certain point, that back and forth, breaking down, remodeling, you start to lose. It breaks down a little more, then it rebuilds. But that is a fact. But we can augment that. We can help that. We can do just like with the muscle loss. If it's on your radar, if you're doing these things, to knowing that this is going to happen, eating the way you should, doing the things that you should, avoiding the things that you should also, to help, like I said, so we can age, keep running, keep functioning, and have autonomy later in life.
Exactly. So again, strength training, we keep hammering this, and we will always keep doing that because it is so important. Obviously, weight bearing and any kind of resistance exercise and training is critical. 2 to 3 times per week minimum. We try to go a little bit more. We're doing like 3 to 4. That's our goal, but that's us. You guys have to judge that for yourself. It's just recommended
But
2 to 3.
yeah, at least 2 to 3, bare minimum 2.
Bare minimum,
You
yeah.
have to be. That might differ in your training cycle, you know, if you're doing racing and that, but it has to be part of it regardless of anything. And we need to be progressively loading. You need load on the tissue, you need load on the bones to make them remodel. So if you're not having any of that, you know, you're not going to get that stimulus to build back those tissues stronger. So
Yep, exactly. So another key foundation again is protein.
Building blocks.
These are all building blocks, right?
It is the building blocks of tissue, of everything, of our bones. So
yeah, now this might seem like a lot. We talk about this all the time, but 0.8 grams to 1.2 grams per your body weight is what you should be striving for. That's just going to help you be optimal as possible.
As older adults, as older active adults, we just need more. And the RDA is the bare minimum, not to be deficient. It is not the optimal amount. They really need to stress that, because people just hear the RDA, oh, that's what I need, it'll be fine. No, that's what you need not to be deficient. And they view their things as you're getting high quality protein for all of that, what they're recommending. So they don't parse those two things out. So not only it has to be high quality, bioavailable, the best absorbed for our body, it also has to be more than what they're saying, you know, for, like I said, for our age and for our activity levels. You guys are all way more active than the average person. Well, even younger people for some of us, you know, that. And so we need more. We have more demands on our body. We're asking it to do more. We need to give it the building blocks, give it the protein that it needs to be able to do that.
Yeah. So pasture eggs, as we talk about all the time, chicken and pork.
Yeah, the high quality
proteins. High quality. Again, it's a little bit more expensive, but it is worth it.
Absolutely.
And again, grass-fed and finished is the key part there. A lot of people don't pay attention to that.
6 months of their life is the key part. Finding regenerative farmers that are practicing this is. You can, luckily, you know, depending on where you're at, most people can find ranchers in their area. If not, you can have delivery services, or if you're lucky that your grocery store offers.
Yeah, and most grocery stores, if you look, it's not going to be a big selection, but ask the butcher and they will show you. You'll be surprised where you can find it.
More.
Yeah, even our local one here, you're seeing that selection, which used to be real small. It's actually getting bigger.
Yeah,
because people are choosing to buy it. So now it's supply and demand, right?
So yeah, that's awesome. And then you always want wild caught, sustainably certified fish.
Yep. And again, you just want to maintain a healthy body weight, which we are all conscious of because we're all runners. And for those of you that may feel like you're a little bit off, well, obviously we're here for that reason, right? We're here to motivate and hold everybody accountable. And that's one of the reasons for the group here. So key vitamins for your bone health. Vitamin D is a big one. Again, it helps in so many areas.
But it's huge in bone health. We don't really, we always hear about calcium. Calcium is one of the main ones, but calcium does not work unless you have vitamin D. There's a lot of things that work in concert together that you have to have one for the other. No process in the body happens exclusively, you know, in a vacuum by itself. It takes minerals, it takes vitamins, it takes other things going along. And this is vitamin D for like I said, a whole host of things, but huge for our bone health.
K1 and K2, which is important as well. Leafy greens, dairy products, and fermented foods.
Yeah, the research is coming out more on K2 that might be actually a little bit better. Limited, like I said, research on that. But we know K2, K1, those things for K1 you're going to get you're going to be your leafy vegetables. The fermented dairy is going to be more K2, and the hard cheeses. But those are not only help for gut health. The better your gut health is, the better your body's going to be able to absorb these minerals and these vitamins that you need to be able to remodel those bones and build back those bones. So it's all a process that you need all of this. So differentiate. They always just say vitamin K, but there's a lot of different vitamin Ks and a lot of different vitamin K2s it can get a little confusing, but green leafy, fermented dairy, and you're getting probably both those.
Yeah, again, vitamin C for collagen production. Again, strawberries and citrus are always good for that. It's always natural in those foods.
These are all in bone metabolism or whatever. B12 is for osteoblasts. That's the building. Osteoclasts break it down. Osteoblasts build it back up. You think B for building. But meat, eggs, dairy, you can choose to supplement. A lot of these things you can get with food, or that's why I always say to track your food to see what your mineral status is, to see how you're getting it in your food. You might have to supplement a little bit. And blood work, testing your vitamin mineral status. Those are other things that just keep, so you know that you're getting the like I said, the micronutrients that you need to be able to offset. Remember, we are losing unless we are actively building and actively trying to reverse this process here.
Yeah, exactly. And then vitamin A influences osteoblasts and osteoclasts.
Yeah, so the whole metabolism of bone health is part of that. And then vitamin A is retinol. We think of vitamin A for our skin and skin health, but it's also for our bone health too. And that's in liver, spinach, and eggs. Minerals are super important too. Calcium is the big one. We always hear about calcium, but there's so many other factors that allow calcium to work. So if you're getting your calcium, but you're deficient in vitamin D, your body's not going to be able to absorb that calcium. If it's deficient in some of these other minerals, it's not going to be able to work well. So these things all go together in concert to make these big, huge processes happen in our body. So we have to be thinking that this holistically of, how can you, design your diet, design your foods, your food choices around getting all these vitamins and minerals. You can do it, but tracking it to see that you might need some supplementation too with it.
Yeah, magnesium, again, is critical in so many aspects.
And we know as runners, we lose electrolytes. Any electrolyte powder you have is going to have calcium. It's going to have magnesium. Salt is the big thing. And potassium. Those are things that we're losing more because we are out, especially if you're running out in the summer, which all of you guys are doing. You're losing these minerals. Remember, if you don't have these minerals on board, your body will leach them from your bones. So you need calcium, you need magnesium for other different processes in your body. It will grab that from your bones. So all that stuff. So you don't want to be robbing your bones because you're not getting enough of this, because you're sweating it out too much and you're not replacing it with those electrolytes. You're not replacing it with the extra activity that you're doing. So these are just things we just want this kind of always to be on your radar to be, watching out for. But a lot of people don't realize that if you're deficient in any of these, it's going to try to get it from somewhere else. And it's usually the bones.
Yeah. Zinc is one in many aspects, again, that gets overlooked. You can take this in a supplement, but you can also get it in oysters, meat, poultry, and dairy.
Yeah, there's a lot of people believe, that you can get, and you should be able to get your vitamins and minerals from your food, but we know our soil is not as dense, nutrient dense as what it was before. So we could be lacking. That's why having blood work and finding these things out can help too.
Yeah, again, blood work, we've mentioned it so many times, but next time when your doctor visit, ask to do this extra blood work. He or she is going to probably ask why, and it's your responsibility to say, I want to know this information so you can have a discussion with your doctor. Yeah. If they push back that much, then you may want to consider.
But it is your right to ask.
It is your right to know all this stuff because the data you're going to get back is very powerful.
Absolutely. And it just allows you to make better choices, like I said, with your food choices, and know where you have to augment, and whether you need supplementation too. Copper is a trace mineral. You don't need a lot of it, but it is a super important mineral that not only for your bone health, to help to, prevent bone loss or the minerals that you might lose from that, but a lot of other things, even with your iron. A lot of people are deficient in copper that can show up as anemia. So it can give some false signaling with blood work. So this is, like I said, only in trace amounts. You only need about 1 milligram of it. But if you don't have it, this is one of the big things that it actually works with, is all of these things, like I said, work in concert together to help that constant back and forth. That's a big process of breaking down bone, building it back up. It needs all of these minerals on board all the time because this is constantly happening.
And then phosphorus is going to protect your bones from mineral loss. And again, protein, you can achieve this from protein.
Yeah, there's a lot of things with protein. So people that are vegans just have to be, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know that some of these things you're going to have to be more in tune about where you're getting it, and a different variety of things to be able to get it from plant sources versus animal sources.
Yeah, or supplementation. So obviously there's things to watch out for. Tobacco use is going to deplete your body in many, many areas, as we know. And it's going to obviously impact your bone density, bone health.
These are things that are going to accelerate
your loss, right? So just be careful of it. You got to make that decision for yourself. Obviously, most of us drink caffeine in some form, not all of us, but some do, some more than others, and excessive amounts is going to help.
Yeah, a little bit of caffeine, as we know, for performance basis, it can actually do good. Too much, it starts to have that negative effect. One of the negative effects that it has is on our bones. So we don't want that. Same with alcohol. A little bit of alcohol. Some people believe no alcohol is, whatever your choice is, know that too much of it is definitely going to affect it.
Yeah.
Protein pump inhibitors. A lot of people have acid reflux. A lot of people have chronic GERD, all of those things, but those, the Nexiums and the Zegrate and all those type of Zantac, some are over the counter, some are still prescription, that block that acid also negatively affect our bone health. So I know that there's people that can't live without these. They can't think of the thought of without it. It would be extremely. My sister's on a very heavy prescription one because it's a huge problem she has, but she has to be on target with a lot of other things, knowing that this is something that is robbing you of bone, the mineralization of your bones. So one of those necessary things. There's so many people that are on this, and I don't realize, and I would hope their doctors are sharing with them, that if you're on this, especially if you're on it for chronic issues like reflux, it's going to negatively affect that. So you need to be actively doing things to help it on the other side of that.
Anticoagulants.
Another thing, as older adults, if you're getting certain issues, blood clots are bad. They can kill you. We know that. So people need to be on, like I said, these PPIs, or they need to be on these anticoagulants for other heart health issues. But no, long-term effects of this is hard on the bones, and it can make you more at risk of losing bone density. So hopefully your doctors are sharing that. Hopefully they're going over these things. I know these aren't things that people can just quit, but know that you're going to have to be actively working to make sure that you're mitigating the other things for it. And SSRIs, that's the your Prozacs. There's I think 30% of people are on some type of SSRI. So a lot of people. Don't think about what you're getting treated for, depression is going to cause, is going to hurt your bone health. Like I said, I would hope that doctors know this. They are telling people this. They are telling them that this is going to be a side effect long term. A lot of people are on these type of medications long term. They have long term side effects that are, like I said, the benefit. Yeah, obviously, there's a lot of people on here that need to be on these, but know that there's always side effects to every single drug that you take. Your bone health is super important too, so make sure that you are doing things. This is on your radar that you're going to have to ensure obviously getting bone density testing done. Most people are doing that after a certain age, but doing all the things that you can do to increase, your vitamin, your mineral status, doing all those things. So you have all the things on board to keep making healthy bones. So.
And obviously then try to moderate your stress level. That's one of the reasons why we love to run, because it helps us clear that stress out.
It's a big stress.
And obviously good night's sleep. We all know how much we feel better when we have a good night's sleep. So
all the repair happens. All the magic happens when you sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So these are things just to watch out for. Just be conscious of it as best you can. And, because it's critical to our bone health, right? And then obviously, this is something a lot of people don't realize, is that you reach your peak bone mass at the age of 30. Now, all of us in this group are over the age of 30.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. And so we are now on the downside when it comes to our bone health, which is sad if you think about it that way. But
I don't think people realize that it does happen at 30. You think of it more when we get into our 50s and our 60s, especially women. We kind of think about that. But I'm like, if they had in the forefront that how much your peak mass at 30, that remodeling that happens constantly, building, breaking down, breaking down, the slide goes, it starts going down. You're breaking down more than you're able to build. You're breaking down more, and that's a constant process that's happening. At 30, it starts to go down, just like with your muscle. It starts to go down. You start to lose that battle if you do not actively strength train, eat the protein, get the nutrient dense diet, exercise, lift weights to counteract this stuff. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And again, as we get older, you know that when people get older, if they happen to fall, then they're going to break a bone, and that's going to cascade into other serious health issues, which may shorten your life, right? So we want to try to focus on this, right? So, and again, it's built upon what your bone loss is dependent upon what you built up prior to the age of 30. So we're all past that. So we need to do these things so we can slow that down and even try to build it back up. It depends, but
if they let younger people know this, if this was like on your radar, having your at a young age, learning it in school, learning this, like, hey, this is the time to build, this is the time to strength train, this is the time to do this. Would some people not care? Sure. Most people not. But there are some people, I think, that would take this to heart and be like, wow, the amount of bone, the strength that I have before 30 is going to be dependent on my risk of osteoporosis when I'm 60. I don't know. I think education is the key to everything, but it is dependent on how much you build up in that bank before the age of 30.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and then obviously this is a constant remodeling that happens. So how fast that process is, that's always happening, but how fast that process is. And we know what speeds it up: tobacco use, excessive alcohol, some medications that you might be taking. So this is dependent on your risk factor when you get older. So just things to keep in mind that, like I said, I don't think, a lot of people know that. And I think if younger people knew the extent of that, maybe they would do something different.
So as we say each week, the whole purpose of this group is just to try to educate you guys, hold you accountable. If you're struggling, if you're stuck, you can go to runtips.us/call, set up a time with us. We're more than willing to kind of just more for listening, to give you some guidance to help you maybe get unstuck, because we know this is overwhelming. It's very hard when you're confused on where to do. It gets overwhelming, and we get it. So that's why we offer this to you guys each and every week, is if you are in that spot, you can go to runtips.us/call. It's on the bottom of the screen here. Pick a time and we can chat for a little bit. But hopefully this is helpful. Again, something to be on your radar, just something to be thinking about. As we say all the time, not medical advice. We're sharing with you guys what we research, what we're focusing on, so you can think for yourself, right? Do your own research.
Yeah, so critical thinking is key.
Critical is key.
It's going to be more important than ever coming, like I said, it's always important, but education is that. And like I said, this is not the end all be all. This is just the research we do, what we're implementing to be the healthiest we can be, to have autonomy later in life, and to keep running as long as we can. That's what we all want: to be healthy, to be happy, to keep running. We have to have these things on our radar. So
exactly. So
keep up the smart training. It's still pretty hot out there. I know you guys are still doing those long runs on the weekend. So train smart, be healthy out there, be safe, and have an awesome rest of your weekend.
All right. See you guys. See you next week.
Bye now.